We're Robin and Steve. This is January 2025 and we hadn't been back home to Hobart for quite a while. I was already excited to be sailing back to our home port for a little while, but to make it almost too exciting, we were joined by more dolphins than I've ever seen in one place before. The combination of so many dolphins and coming home may have made me mist up a little bit. Pods seemed to come from all directions, each peeling out as the next one arrived. In 2023, we left here for New Zealand, so it's pretty special to be back in familiar territory. And soon we saw some familiar faces. We were off to see my friend who was running circus workshops. Steve just had to check that he's awesome at everything he does.
Yes, we do. Behold, a carny.
Yep, still awesome. I got to catch up with some lovely friends who also like doing circus. And soon it absolutely poured, but that didn't stop us.
Oh, wow. Woo! That's a good one.
Yes.
Took a bit of rain down the
Wow, that's a cool one.
From one play date to another.
Side of the screen.
Yes. You were. And here's Robin doing her circus stuff, and I'm actually watching, which is unusual for me.
Soon playtime would be over. It was time to get serious. In the boatyard. In fact, one reason we came home is because Ketering Marina is so excellent, and we've got some work to do. The hull's not nearly as hairy as when we first did this job. I'm always in awe of these boat lifts. Such slick bits of equipment. At this marina, owners are allowed to power wash their own boats. So as Steve washes, I just enjoy the show. Watching barnacles and algae fly off the hull. It's also a good chance to meditate on how large the boat is that we're about to sand and repaint. One side is fresh and exfoliated. Can you tell which side has had the treatment? Maybe I got carried away filming this bit. I didn't film any of our sanding. I wet sanded the hull below the waterline, and Steve had to prep above the waterline to make the top half shiny and white again. Ah, so pretty and so poisonous. This is anti-foul, and this is us applying the anti-foul. First of 3 coats. At night, we were allowed to sleep on board in a room with a view. Yep, pretty shiny. There are a few other jobs to do, like replacing the anodes, which had done their jobs, sacrificing themselves to protect our boat from corrosion. The propeller has its own anti-foul, prop speed. We were nearly ready to go back in. Nice day for it. We'd saved just enough anti-foul to get the last patches of the boat, and then it was time to go back in. Steve stepped aboard without me. Luckily, we'd been lent a car, so I would take the land route to Cygnet. Once Steve established that the boat was not leaking, he was off. Visiting home when you live on a boat is a bit complicated. We were all over the place, but here's a quick catch-up. We had a lot to do to prepare to circumnavigate Australia, and we like to set off with full tanks of diesel. Let's backtrack to the bit where we're everywhere and are trying to see everyone. I got to spend some quality time with family and friends, including my dad and stepmum and their garden. Dad got to see our boat and meet some of our artistic friends. I caught up with my sibling, whose cat likes to be photographed. And we caught up with many, many lovely humans. And even met a new human. I caught up with friends with or without their animals. Some share similar hobbies to me. I spent quite a bit of time in Dad's garage, playing with centrifugal force. Dad's a physicist, you see. Remember how I mentioned that we'd met a new human? It's Mabel, the little one, with her parents, Sarah and Campbell, who sailed with us around the Pacific and in a small world way turn out to be our neighbours. A lot has happened since our boats sailed separate ways in Fiji. Lovely to meet you, Mabel.
And what? Oh, you
Does
can.
Mabel look cute?
Yeah, she looks cute.
We even caught up with our New Zealand friends, Kev, Bex and Riley, who also sailed in the Pacific with us. Another lovely neighbour gave us a tour of her farm, which I know well, but I haven't seen for years. And in our broader neighbourhood, we went back to see Adi and Lilu for a karaoke party, which tragically wasn't filmed. I'd hugged my family, it was time to set sail. Farewell, fair Cygnet. See you again once we've gone around Australia. Having left Cygnet, it was a bit of a long farewell, because Tassie's big. As we left landmarks we associate with home behind us, we were headed out in a different direction this time, still accompanied by dolphins, and fish farms and seals. We had one last anchorage in view of our familiar mountain, Kunanyi, and strutting the Tassie uniform of socks and sandals. Then we sailed in waters we'd not sailed in, past Clifton Beach to Monk Bay. In the early 1800s, this was a coal mine and a prison, full of miserable tales like many colonial sites throughout Australia and the world. Here's an illustration of the working conditions the prisoners were forced to accept. We appreciated taking this thought-provoking walk while we waited for some bad weather to pass. This time we'd opted to take the Denison Canal. It was only just deep enough, with rocks either side. We'd radioed the canal superintendent, and it was like clockwork. Traffic stopped for us, and the bridge swung open and let us through. My friend Mark, who had stood on earlier in the video, rushed out to give us a special farewell. He chucked a tennis ball, which landed perfectly aboard our boat, and then he ran ahead again to wave us goodbye with his feet. A very special acrobat farewell. It was so shallow that our depth sounder was confused. we'd officially left familiar humans behind. As we wove our way out of the shallows, looming large in my mind was that soon we were to cross the Bass Strait, but for now we could anchor at Mariah Island. Quite soon we were to be boat-bound, so we went wild and walked all over the place. We checked out more old prisoner accommodation and saw evidence of marsupials. There's one. This was a seasonal hunting ground for the Tyadim people, the Oyster Bay tribe. Yep, these middens are old, making the colonial ruins look relatively new. Mariah Island behind us to head for Coles Bay for one last grocery shop before we hit Bass Strait. Freycinet National Park is world famous. And yeah, I see what the fuss is about. We felt pretty lucky being able to get these views from a boat, a bit cheaper than the nearby fancy resorts. On our way to Shootin' Passage, we came across some Australian fur seals. Next time we enjoy our last days in Tassie before officially starting our circumnavigation of Australia as we head into the Bass Strait.